Hello and welcome back to another One Piece video. So today I have Green Zoro for you guys. Honestly, Green Zoro was my most anticipated leader this format. But honestly, he's gotten so popular that I've kind of strayed away from him just because we do see a lot of him and a lot of people do know how to play around him. Even though he is, in my opinion, he is one of the stronger decks, right? Or the strongest deck, if not, in the format. I just don't like playing, the top tier meta decks that everyone tries to counter. So this is the list that I was testing with. I felt pretty good, honestly. Everything was pretty standard. I think Electrical Luna is a very important card to have nowadays, just because of all like the Rayleighs running around. You're able to stun, especially like red decks too. If they play the 7 cost Newgate, you're able to just stun their whole board and then just keep on the pressure of your leader, right? So not a lot of people actually maximize on Tashigi, Cavendish, and Smoker. Obviously Smoker not having any counter, I don't want to play him at any more than like 2 copies. But he's just in there in case we don't find the Tashigi, in case we don't find the Cavendish. Just having that third option for the 5 Dawn turn is super nice. But yeah, everything else is pretty standard. The 4 cost Zoro comes in. The reason why I have this in is because he's really good in the mirror. And then obviously if people aren't reading his effect, him not being able to be KO'd by slash characters is super nice, and it comes up in the mirror, right? You're able to just stick this on board and then obviously get in that 5k power swing every turn. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't run the Hodies. I found that Hodie actually does more harm than good, just because with this leader, unless you have the Cavendish developed already, or you have the Kuina that didn't die when you rested her last turn, the Hodie is only able to pressure like an 8/8, which is pretty lackluster. I'd rather just, use those slots to make the deck more consistent. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the deck. Let's just hop over to some gameplay. Okay, so first game I got for you guys, we're going to be going up against the other menace of OP12, which is going to be Blue Kuzan. And Blue Kuzan is one of those decks that's super hard to race. And so in this matchup, you actually want to try to load up your board with as many mid-range bodies as you can, right? And this is where it's super nice to have so many 5-drop options. So as you can see in our hand, we have the Tashigi, the Smoker, and the Cavendish. It's just going to be super strong for us since we have that flexibility. So he doesn't play anything down actually. And then yeah, he doesn't play anything down, so that means that he was just trying to fish us for resources, but we just play the Cavendish down, restanding 2 since he didn't give us a body to rest down, and then he answers with the 6-drop Kuzan here. So one cool thing about Tashigi is that even though Kuzan buffs himself by 1 cost, the Tashigi looks at base cost. So if we wanted to, we could play down the Tashigi to rest down the Kuzan and pressure out some resources there. But I decide against it. I just want to search for more more top end. And so I play down the Smoker. Instead of playing aggro, I'm playing a little more conservative, just because I do want to build a wide board before we start trying to pressure him, right? Since we know that he's going to turn that Kuzan sideways anyways, we should be able to pressure him next turn. So here we do take the 8k swing. I think I end up playing down the Mihawk into the Tashigi here. But yeah, pretty unlucky for us. He hit 2 Kuzans back to back, and so our Cavendish wasn't able to get much recurring value there. But thanks to our Smoker being active, we're able to pressure 2 cards out of his hand. Otherwise, he would have to give us that banished life, right? So I'm swinging the 9k into his Kuzan and able to bring him down to 2 life. So this is where I'm talking about where we're able to develop such a wide mid-range board. It's really hard for Kuzan to come back from this. So he had to use 6 Dawn to just rip a red rock. And that's really good for us because that means that he's not able to develop another big body. So I think at this point we have enough power on board to actually go for game. And this is why I like Demon Slash so much versus running Hodies. You basically have a 4-cost Hodie, and since we have the Cavendish already developed, he's gonna be able to restand 2. Yeah, he's gonna be able to restand 2 Dawn for us here, swinging in 7, and then finishing him off with a 9/9. So if he has it, he has it. But yeah, I didn't really feel comfortable trying to like prolong this game because looking at the top card of his deck, it actually was a Gravity Blade. So if we decided to play safe, I think we would have been cooked by that Gravity Blade. So yeah, able to squeeze a win from blue Kuzan here. Okay, so second match I got for you guys, we're going to be going up against red Shanks. And like I said in previous videos, I think red Shanks is on the up and up. He feels really good, like especially when I was playtesting him. And I think at the time of recording, this is going to be like a PRB2 build, so Shanks is even stronger than what we're experiencing in the West. But yeah, Zoro's still able to keep up with the new Shanks buffs and yeah, able to still be competitive despite not having too many PRB2 buffs. So here Smoker's super nice just because we don't have like a TCG or a Cavendish, so the Smoker did come in clutch, being able to drop down something on 5 Dawn. And then we were able to also develop the TCG early on, so that means that his 7 Dawn turns, if he plays anything that, you know, wants to remove our board, this TCG is going to come in really clutch for that. So I think here I could play down the Mihawk, right? But I could also play down the TCG to force out resources, and I think I do exactly that. So I decide to load up on the Law here, being able to swing in Dumb Heavy into the Law with a total of 12k power. So he does give us the block here, which is super fine. It's totally fine with us, but obviously we can't swing into it again just because Zoro can't swing into any like 7 costs or lower after restanding. So yeah, the Law is such a, honestly, looking at the card at face value, I thought it was a little underwhelming, but just facing it in game, it is so strong, right? Because if I didn't have that TCG on board, the 3-cost TCG, that Law with the Rayleigh would have been able to just absolutely decimate our board. So I wonder if he's going to turn that Law sideways, just because if he does, obviously we're just going to crack into it as heavy as possible just to get it off the board, and he decides to leave it standing so that he can protect that Law as much as possible. So I answer with a Mihawk here, probably going to restand another Dawn, right, with the Smoker. So we do have 7 Dawn to work with here. Honestly, we could play down another Smoker, right? Just force him to answer our board. So I think I decide against it. Or I could play down the Smoker, right? Or I could play down 2 blockers as well. Okay, so I did go with the 2 blockers here just because he already used his leader ability, and then giving us a counter from the Smoker swing. I think my mindset there was putting down a blocker was basically putting down another Smoker, right? Just because if they do swing into the Smoker, we'll be able to defend it. And then luckily for us, the Mihawk does get a free block here, so that's super nice. And then him swinging 5 into our Smoker. I don't want to give a blocker with just a 5k swing. And then since we did have that extra 2k counter, I decided to use that to save that minimum swing. So yeah, he definitely misplayed there. He could have forced us to give both of our blockers, or at least like one more card. We had the counter for it anyways, but He could have played down the pump Shanks, right, before anything. And I did play down the Kuina here. Yeah, I probably just swing in super heavy, right, into the... So I actually go into the Shanks here just because I don't want to waste any Dawn when swinging. And he actually does decide to try to defend that Shanks there. So here I should attach 4 and swing into Rayleigh. But first the Smoker obviously going to be swinging 6 to the Shanks. And then, yep, I do attach 4 more, swinging in 10 to the Rayleigh, restanding, and then swinging 10 at lead. And then thanks to the Electric Luna, able to just stun his board, not allowing him to play down his, or not play down, but use his when attacking on that Law. So looking back, I think I could have pressured him with the 8k swing too with the Mihawk, just because if he does swing into our bodies, that's pretty good for us. Considering we do have another blocker on board too. I know he did answer with a Beckman, but it's better for him. I think he's going to be swinging into bodies anyways, right? Yeah, so here he just swings into bodies anyways. So, you know, I guess it didn't matter in the end, right? So I swing in 9 with the Mihawk here, just because him leaving that 1 Dawn up makes me think that he has a Divine Departure, and so this would require the Departure, his leader ability, and another 1k counter if he wanted to get out of this one. But I did forget about this Shanks, this character Shanks, being able to make one of his swings a 2k counter. But yeah, I think at this point we just had too much power on the board and was able to close out the match from there. So okay, so last game I got for you guys, we're going to be going up against Silvers Rayleigh, and Rayleigh, it feels like, is the new Bello Betty to the Zoro's UP Luffy. But yeah, what's really important in this matchup is to try to actually utilize this 2k counter. I forgot the name, but it's that 3-cost 2k counter that I have in hand right now. Buggy is used a lot of the time to try to counter this deck, but if you commit that 2k counter, he actually pops that Buggy right off the board, and that's why he's super important to run at 4. Now we're able to rest down the Boa Hancock here. Probably gonna swing in 6. I was considering just throwing down the Hiyori, but in this matchup it's really important to try to save as much counter as possible, right? Because if you can counter out of like a minimum swing, totally do it, because Rayleigh can absolutely just crush you with like tall numbers in the late game. So yeah, the Hiyori did come in clutch there. I decided to save the second copy of, what is that, Shimi? Just because if he plays down another Buggy, we do need an answer for that. So I swing in 8 into the Nami here, or Sanji, and then being able to swing in 8 at lead. Yeah, so don't be greedy with the Sanji. Like, if you have to KO him and give him the draw, just go ahead and do that, because otherwise he's just going to be pressuring you every single turn. So here he does play down the Luffy, basically the Jinbei of the deck, but 7k at lead. I don't think it's worth it to counter out of that one, and so yeah, I decide to take that one. Yeah, and here I think the best play was just to play down the Mihawk, because then we can play down the Mihawk and the Kuina, and since Mihawk is an 8k power, we're able to dodge that mole gun that he picked up. So again, just not being greedy with the Sanjis on KO, just getting rid of that, because being 3k on our turn, super nice, because on his turn, having another 6k body is really annoying to deal with. So we're looking pretty good. It is kind of scary though, because the Rayleigh does have like 10-11 cards in hand. But we have tremendous board presence right now, and we still have the Kuina on board that he has to deal with, right? So trying to see if, yeah, he definitely is going to rip the mole gun to pop this TCG. Yeah, especially with the Luffy now that the Rayleigh has 3 Dawn attached. He's going up to 6k, and then with Rayleigh effect, pumping him up to 8k. And then here, since that's his last swing on board, I decide to actually block and counter with the Mihawk here. So at this point, I know I wanted to save the 2k counter there to counter any like buggy play if he plays him down, but because we're so late in the game, it's really important that we survive, right? And I think if he plays down buggy at this point, it's just way too slow, and we should be able to clear out from there. So yeah, I'm trying to force out as many resources as possible. Yeah, and then trying to hold this restand event as our win condition. So yeah, when Rayleigh uses this event, yeah, I think it's Conqueror's Hockey, right? The event that lowers our whole board by 1,000. It makes the math super annoying. So I decide to swing into the Sanji here, because if I swung into the Kid and Killer, there's actually no way that that attack would have went through. So yeah, able to get one of his threats off board, which is super nice for us. And then we have 2 Mihawks developed, so that means that we should be able to, yeah, free block out of these 7k swings. So if he wanted to pressure us, he would have to invest Dawn to do so. And yeah, I really wanted to develop the TCG last turn, because TCG is really going to help us add that extra two cards to pressure him for game next turn. But again, I know that a lot of Rayleigh's events are 2k counters, so it's pretty scary for us. I think the only way that we can close out from here is if he has like a lot of bricks, right? Like a lot of characters in hand, because the boa's a brick, the 3-cost Zoro's a brick, which he drew a couple of actually, and the Kid and Killers are bricks as well. So yeah, at this point, I don't think, yeah, realistically, I don't think there's a way for us to survive. But I try to poke in some resources here, right? Because if he gives us that Kid and Killer, we're looking pretty good to survive. Oh, I actually just go for it here. So I go in with an 8k swing, able to get that Conqueror's Hockey off the board. And I think at this point, I was contemplating whether to swing in 6 or 7. And I think I decided to swing in 7 with the TCG here. So first, swinging in 9. Yeah, because I want to force as many cards as possible with the TCG swing, because one of the Zoro swings is going to get eaten anyways. So it's really a matter of, what is it, 7-10 or 6-11? So we were able to get 2 cards out of his hand there, and then swinging in another 9 at lead. And then swinging in this last 10, which I'm surprised he took that 9. Or no, I definitely missed sequence too. So luckily for us, he only had 9k in counter. But yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I think if I swung in 6-11, he would have had that extra 2k to counter out of that. Versus, yeah, that 7k swing forcing 2 of his events out of hand. So yeah, able to squeeze a win out of Rayleigh as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the deck, guys. Honestly, I think the deck's super fun. It's very aggressive, and yeah, definitely be careful if you decide to play this deck, because there's going to be a lot of players that are working to counter this deck specifically. And just know your tech cards, right? Like I know blue is playing like Slave Arrow now, black decks are playing like Black Vortex, and just knowing your outs against, you know, tech cards like that will go a long way. So hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.